Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another edition of Zeke Speaks. We are talking about Banjo-Kazooie, Banjo-Tooie, the sequel. Get ready. I'm burping, so I have not have to redo this. Welcome again to Zeke Speaks. Like I said before, we're talking about Banjo-Kazooie, all things Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie. I'm very excited because I love these games. I played them on the Nintendo 64 way back in the day, or I watched my brother play them. I was a very little kid. So I have a lot of emotions tied with this game. So I'm very excited. Let's jump into it. Here are some facts about Banjo-Kazooie. The game came out in 1998. The company that made it was called Rare. It's very interesting about this company called Rare is that it worked for Nintendo as a second developer for a good portion of time, and then it was bought by Microsoft. So what's kind of interesting is that Rare made games like the Donkey Kong Country games for Nintendo 64, which is, everybody knows Donkey Kong is a part of Nintendo. But Rare also made the Banjo-Kazooie games, but since Rare had license rights to Donkey Kong can make these games, but Banjo-Kazooie was created by Rare. So when Microsoft acquired Rare many years later, Banjo-Kazooie left the Nintendo world and went to the Microsoft world. Other notable games around this time that Rare made was the Donkey Kong Country trilogy, like I talked about, Killer Instinct, which they actually remade not too long ago on the Xbox games, GoldenEye 007, which that's a huge one for me. I love that game. Perfect Dark, don't know what that is. And Conker's Bad Fur Day, which I've never heard of that either. Now, there's a lot of opinions about Banjo-Kazooie and that the success that it's had. A lot of people compare it to Super Mario 64. The reason why is because it's kind of a similar journey kind of game. Banjo and Kazooie, should I say, go through a couple different levels, and how you level select is very similar. Now, Super Mario 64 is known as a legendary game, and it is. I love that game. But I love Banjo as well, so it's kind of interesting to hear this contrast. That even at some times, Banjo-Kazooie was actually more popular and better rated than Super Mario 64, which is kind of crazy.
Has the whole world gone crazy? Am I the only one around here who gives a shit about the rules?
But nowadays, obviously, Super Mario 64, because of how famous Mario is, that game is more known to the world. My last fact of this game, which I thought was kind of interesting because I did not know this at all, the company Rare was making a game called Dreams Land of Giants. Now, this game was scrapped. So the company gathered together all these resources that they have from this game that was scrapped, and they made Banjo-Kazooie with it. So this game was kind of put together off the scraps of another game, and I think that would be a terrible idea, yet this game came out so good. All right, let's jump into my thoughts of the game. Are you guys ready for this? I absolutely love this game. Like I said, I have a lot of emotional ties. I have a lot of nostalgia with this game. The intro to this game is just, I remember it so vividly. Check it out. Now, the story begins with this evil witch. She's realizing that she's not very good looking because she's very gross looking in this game. Her name is Gruntilda. Now, she wants better looks.
Getting a good picture of everybody so we look nice and handsome and thin.
Beautiful.
Perfect.
So the story begins with this evil looking witch. She's gross looking. Her name is Gruntilda. I'll show you a picture of her. She's very gross. The story is actually kind of similar to the evil queen in Snow White. She wants to be the fairest of them all. I don't know if this is reference to power, to looks. I'm not sure. But she realizes she's not the fairest of them all. There's this girl named Tootie. I want to say her name right, Tootie. She's kind of claimed to be this fairest of them all, good-looking girl in this universe. And Gruntilda wants to steal her beauty and her power. So she goes off on this journey to steal this girl and eventually does it. Now, Banjo and Kazooie are kind of these weird characters that get called to action. The story is kind of a fun, playful story. It's kind of childish, so it's not, the story of the game is not what really pulls people into this game and why they think it's so great. Now, the reason why I think this game is so good is because of all the different worlds, levels, whatever you want to call them. They're amazing because each level world creates such a unique mood and feeling that when I see these pictures, when I play through this game, I get such a weird feeling inside me. There's such a unique tone to each of these levels, and that's where I think the true story lies. The gamer goes through these and feels these different emotions, has these unique feelings, and there they find their own kind of journey, and that's what I feel like I have the pull for this game. Now, I'm not going to go through all these worlds, but I'm going to go through some of the notable ones that I actually love, and then when I see a picture of them or play through them, I remember these ones very vividly. One's called Clunker's Cavern. If you've played this game, you probably remember this level. It's a huge, giant mechanical whale that you basically journey inside to, and you go all through these levels of this huge machine, and it essentially is a giant garbage disposal for the Gruntilda, the main witch. Then we have Freezy Easy Park, which is this snow level where these evil little snowmen are chasing you. It's kind of creepy at the same time. I love it. And then we got Click Clock Wood, which this is one of the first games that changed environments for me. Every time you go into this level, it's a different season. It's snowing, it's autumn, it's all different. There's summer and spring. And Banjo-Tooie, which I'll talk about a little bit now as well, there's a world called Grunty Industries, which is this giant factory that you have to go through, which is a very cool level. My favorite level is called Witchy World, which is this super creepy theme park. I love horror stuff, so this level is right up my alley. It's super creepy, and as a kid, it really scared me, but it also kind of intrigued me, so I always played it. The storyline of these games are so simple, but I don't think that's what is the main pull for these games. It's the individual worlds that you go through and have these unique tones that these levels create and feelings and emotions. That's where I think the pull is, and it creates your own kind of journey, and it creates your own kind of story as a player. The story of Banjo-Tooie is kind of similar. Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie are both kind of more dark, say compared to Super Mario 64. It has some more darker concepts, which I really like. Banjo-Tooie kind of took it to another level. The reason why I say it's darker is some of the concepts in Banjo-Tooie are a little intense. Now, the two witch sisters kind of blow through a couple of different levels or worlds, and we go to this little village. Now, in this world, there's these little guys called Jinjos. If you know what Jinjos are, they kind of look like little Sour Patch Kids. And you go to the Jinjo village in like the second level of that game, and you get there, and like it's like completely destroyed, it's trashed, and almost looks like a huge war went through. And it's kind of sad. You see the rubble of all these buildings of where these Jinjos lived, and you go up to them, and it's like the whole gray Jinjo family passed in this building. You're like, they all died? And as a kid, I was like, what? They all died? And it kind of made me feel sad and scared at the same time. And then you have the King Jinjo kind of becomes like a weird zombie at some point. It's kind of scary. And I kind of loved it as a kid, but I also kind of scared me a little bit. Throughout the game, my goal, I was so motivated to save every Jinjo I could. I was like, yo, yellow Jinjo, green Jinjo. I like wanted to save them all, these little cute guys. And so, again, the darker concepts intrigued me, and I think another thing that kind of set you on this journey of something different, something unique. Another cool thing that I thought was kind of dark and kind of cool that kind of set the tone for these games. In the beginning of Banjo-Tooie, you have Banjo and Kazooie and their friends. They're all playing poker or something in the opening sequence, and the witches come out and attack them, and they all escape this little house except for one of the characters. And this character dies and becomes a ghost, like right in front of you. And you're like, whoa, a character just died in front of me. I mean, it's so rare in these kind of childish, they call it a Disney-like-esque game where a character dies like that. And you're like, whoa, okay. In Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie, again, like I said, the stories are very simple. They overcome the witches. They save whoever was stolen or whatever what was happening. They save the day. Again, I think why I love these games so much is not because of the simple stories that they take you on. It's the journey that me as a player that I took and the unique tones that these worlds create and these feelings and emotions that each setting create is essentially what makes this game so good, or what makes these games so good. That pretty much wraps up my appreciation for Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie. Please, I want to hear your guys' thoughts on these games as well. You may have hated them, you may have loved them, you may have not even played them. I want to hear about your thoughts though, so please comment your thoughts and opinions. Now, on these appreciation episodes, I like to do the weekly recommendation where I talk about something that I'm really into this week. Now, my recommendation for this week is going to be a video game. Since I am talking about a video game, I think this is right up that alley. And I have been playing Pokemon. Now, I have Pokemon Shield, a brand new game, and I was super into the old ones on the Game Boy and then the Nintendo DS. And I love it. It's amazing. It's so cool to see the 3D version of these wild Pokemon running around. And I won't give away some of the spoilers on what happens in the game because you should go play it. That's all I got for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it all as I talked about Banjo-Kazooie, Banjo-Tooie, and my recommendation for the week. Please like, comment, and subscribe to stay up on my weekly content. My next episode will probably come out within the next week. So stay tuned. I hope to see you soon.